Hey Keith, it's Ryan with RDs. I'm over at the property. I'm going to also text you some pictures in case this video doesn't come through clear for you. So I'll get you a price on cleaning up all the weedy growth back here, all the growth that's growing in your patio and the cracks and such, these weeds. We'll clean that up for you, and then clean up the bed back here, just kind of clearing out the weeds. Some of this clovery weeds, some of these other weeds. We'll leave most of these plants alone that are budding here. Some of them are blooming, we'll leave those alone. Some of the weeds, some of the grasses and stuff like that we'll clear out. The back fence line here, we can clean that up for you. Probably trim and shape that bush up. You got a weed growing here, we'll yank that out. The hostas we'll leave alone. Some of the weedy grasses growing up in there we'll clear out. Some of this stuff we'll clear out. So just kind of cleaning up the weeds, and then leaving the plants. So that's the gist for the backyard, and then moving to the front yard. So we'll trim the hedges along this side of your driveway like you mentioned. The problem is, I know you said you wanted them close to the size of the opposite side, but the issue is if we trim these back kind of aggressively, because they're tip growers, it's going to be pretty brown pretty quick. I don't think you're going to want that. We can definitely do it for you. It's not going to look great when it's done because it's going to be completely bare. The other option is you could look to push that task to late fall or early spring when it'll potentially green up after we cut it. Probably early spring next year would be the best bet. Cut it down aggressively and then let it green up after that. So the alternative to that is we can just kind of lightly prune everything and give it some shape. You do have a lot of like weedy vine stuff that we can yank out and clean up. I think if we got that cleaned up, you got these vines yanked off, you have a little bit of poison ivy here that we'll spray and then pull out. I think if you got the gist of that kind of cleaned up, I think it would look fairly decent. I think it's just a lot of this funky overgrowth, which is probably bothering you. And then up front here, we can clean up the weeds, kind of trim back some of the ground cover. We'll keep it, maybe get it off your house a little bit. Clean up the weeds in the beds here. I don't know if you want fresh mulch or you just want the beds cleaned up. You can prune and shape these bushes for you, just kind of square them off, pull the vine off, and then we'll bust out the growth that's growing in your walkway like you mentioned. So that's what I'll get it written up for. If you want anything else added or removed or adjusted, let me know, or you can reply to the email estimate. Thanks, Keith.